Got my first ear done. Pretty excited about it. You can only do one at a time on account of, hearing. You burnt. We had a you burnt this week, and there was a joke about cursive. We were burning cursive, much to the chagrin of cursive. And we said, if you saw these two together, you'd call Child Protective Services. And a lot of people said, but that's not unique to cursive because these don't look the same either. Here's the good news. That was the only problem in this week's You Burnt. As long as you're not a stickler about, audience reaction. Although it's actually technically not true. We said, you'd get arrested by Child Protective Services. Somebody wrote in and said, Child Protective Services can't arrest you. Definitely wrote it like someone who's yelled that at a Child Protective Services officer. Oh, and yeah, I guess this is from it too. There was a joke in You Burnt, where I said, I mentioned my goth nephew. Many of you said this is an emo nephew. And when I told my nephew about my mistake, he was, no surprise here, super moody about it. Is it me or is, Buck quieter today? Oh. It is me. Speaking of, we showed the Buck pillow last week, and it was pretty exciting. Sometimes, fortune shines its light on you, and people were so excited about it that now it's available to buy at the NBC store. You can also, if you don't have time, if you're not near 30 Rock, you can go to the website. I do feel like maybe they regret the product name, but go just look for the Smotherbucker. It was Calendar Jackal. Put it out last week was the 4-year anniversary of Corrections. 4 years of Corrections. And when I think about 4 years of, week in and week out, reading all the YouTube comments and then sort of taking that and building this digital exclusive for, less audience every week. Just to do art that is just, statistically, numerically degrading week in and week out. When I think about that 4-year journey, I think to myself, how bad could his second Trump term be? Someone wrote in, can someone explain the thing about Wally and the podcast? My God, you sound just like Lauren screaming at the SNL publicist. Can someone explain? I guess, though, it's the most Lauren has ever said the words, in 50 years, I've never been so. Golf pencils don't have erasers. Check. The Air Force would not release a battalion. A battalion is a ground force term. Air Force would release sections, flights, squadrons, groups, wings, or boxes if they were Flying Spirit. Lloyd filling in for Buck on that one. It was like somebody accidentally set my corrections TV to Scottish. I had a joke about the omelet on my diner. And what I like about Corrections is just going out of its way to have a picture of not an omelet. We talked about a bird, an Australian bird called a Tesla, that had 2 beaks, and I said each beak sharper than the next. One of you wrote in and said each beak sharper than the last. If each beak, we've done this before, if each beak is sharper than the next beak would be less sharp. But maybe that's, maybe that's what I meant, maybe it's like, each beak is sharper than the last. Well, that would be right. Each beak is sharper than the next, so the worst is over. Each Corrections is more popular than the next. Now you're getting it. The graphic, this is all my graphics. Oh, so the graphic of the bird, we had 2 beaks. And we made up a bird called a Tesla. Someone actually said it was an Australian bird. Somebody wrote in, the graphic is a Gouldian finch with an extra beak badly photoshopped on it. The Gouldian finch is one of a handful of Australian animals that can't kill you. Then they added, don't get me wrong, it wants to kill you, it just can't. So I guess it's an aggressive, this is something we can all learn. It's a Gouldian finch is an aggressive bird. Apologies for the error. But on the plus side, it's time for Animal Flubs.
Animal Flubs, Animal Flubs. It's time to take a look at some animals.
I'm gonna kill you, you mother...
Whoa, Gouldian finch, take it easy.
Don't tell me to take it easy, mother...
Watch your language.
Shut up, you cow.
You can't call her that.
Well, technically he can. I am a cow.
Yeah, but he wasn't using it like that. Were you, Gouldian finch?
Couple of dumb mother...
Stop saying that word.
Fine. Couple of dumb smotherbuckers.
So some people have been clamoring for the return of Animal Flubs, and I thought it was important to do one again to remind you that it sucks. I know Shoemaker's out, but are we missing 2 more mics? Are Mike Nair and Mike Zecca also out? Because usually by this point in Corrections, I've heard at least one of them give a deep sigh. Can't believe I didn't notice. I blame Bianca. Usually before the show, she makes me do a mic check. Zecca. Nair. So now with Shoemaker, Nair, and Zecca out, we're down to 8 mics, 9 Jimmys, and more Tonys that you can shake stick at. We have a saying around here whenever 3 mics are out. The saying is, why couldn't it have been Scollins? We said Dodge Ram. Now, in our defense, Dodge Ram was in the clip. So we were just repeating the reporter in the clip. There's no such car as a Dodge Ram anymore. Ram spun off from Dodge. I think in 2009. And anyway. So Dodge Ram is no longer the name of a truck. It does make for a good Karnak answer. Dodge Ram. What are the 2 words you hear the most when bighorn sheep fight? A couple of comments about my wife and I from the SNL 50th. Like a lot of comments, this one starts nice. Is that Alexi sitting next to Seth in that SNL audience clip? She's hot. Ideally, that's when you go. She could do better than Seth. But again, that one goes down a lot easier than the next one. Seth and his wife look like twins. Make for a way different Coors Light ad. And twins who are married with kids. Close with a very special gift I got. You know, I don't like to get sentimental. But this show, I feel like this show's a family. We're a family. And so when someone sends me a family film, it's, walks right through walls. That's probably one of the reasons it took so long to catch. See you next week.